I'm 680 News senior business editor Mike Eppel. Some potential implications for the price of the pumps and the Canadian economy today with a maneuver by Saudi Arabia to try to stem a wave of selling that the oil market has experienced over the past 2 weeks. Crude has been down 10 days in a row prior to today's activity. Over the weekend, Saudi Arabia announced a unilateral move to cut the daily output from the biggest OPEC producer by 500,000 barrels a day. They want other OPEC nations to come on board with this to try to stem an oversupplied scenario for the global energy market. Russia's a little bit more hesitant to do any short-term moves. Price for oil was trending modestly to the upside today, but a far cry from where it was just a couple of weeks back, as oil has dropped 20% from its mid-October peak and is now officially in a bear market. We'll be tracking this for the price of the pumps over the course of the week. Shares of Apple, one time and still most valuable company in the world, still worth less than it was not that long ago. Apple's been on a slide here since issuing its earnings a few weeks back and saying it wouldn't be releasing unit sales on a quarterly basis for the iPhone. Today, what's believed to be one of Apple's main suppliers for the iPhone, the 3D chip technology for facial recognition on those iPhones, a company called Lumentum, issued a profit warning saying it had reduced supply or orders from one of its big customers. Wouldn't name the customer specifically, but the implications were it's coming from Apple. This had shares of Apple slumping to a 4-month low, well below $199 per share U.S., which brings its market cap down to $933 billion, about $100 billion below where it was just a couple of weeks back. Just days after announcing a major restructuring at its aerospace operations, Bombardier announced a contract today that could help save jobs at its subway rail operations just outside Quebec City. The city of Montreal is buying 150 more subway cars in an expansion that will see Bombardier paid about $250 million in a partnership with Alstom SA of France. Now, the federal government is contributing $215 million to this subway order. There had been some speculation that Bombardier would be cutting jobs at its facility outside Quebec City if an order didn't come through. Of course, last week, Bombardier announced the selling off of its Q400 turboprop line and a restructuring that will see 5,000 job cuts worldwide, including about 2,500 here in Canada. First quarter earnings in from a Canadian cannabis company today. Aurora Cannabis of Edmonton made $104 million profit in its first quarter. That was on just $29 million in sales. Now, revenue grew substantially, up by more than 250% year over year, and the company is saying it's seeing substantial demand for cannabis and looking to boost revenue and supply going forward, but the profitability basically tied to marketable securities accounted for in the latest quarter, so it's making a lot more money, and it'll be interesting to see how that smooths out. Aurora Cannabis, the first of several Canadian medical and legal cannabis marijuana producers, set to report quarterly results over the course of this week. From the 680 newsroom, I'm Mike Eppel for City News.